I think it would be a horrific surprise to the over 800 families that have lost a loved one already to this pandemic to think that this is not a crisis. I believe that position is biologically
Governor Jay
ignorant
Inslee
and humanly heartless.
Governor Jay Inslee is responding to those who say they want to reopen the state right now. Less than an hour ago, he addressed the state on Washington steps to reopen. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Mark Hanrahan. It is a big day in the state of Washington. The governor's plan to reopen the state, phase 1, gets underway today. Meantime, we continue to practice social distancing here at KREM 2, so I'm broadcasting remotely from my home here on the South Hill, and our Whitney Ward is back at the KREM 2 studios. Whitney?
Hi, Mark. Yeah, very big day. Lots of people excited that we're just barely getting started in this first phase. Washington Governor Jay Inslee today saying we still, though, have a long way to go in this battle against COVID-19. He did announce steps to move forward, though. Regina Ahn is live in the newsroom now with more on what he discussed today. Regina?
Hey there, Whitney. Governor Inslee says he's bringing on advisory groups which would focus on different aspects of the state's recovery from the coronavirus crisis. Here are the 3 advisory groups laid out. First, a public health and healthcare system, which will be led by Department of Health Secretary John Wiseman. This group will focus on broadening test efforts and to prepare for vaccines. Then the safe work and economic recovery. This will be led by State Commerce Director Lisa Brown. This group will focus on phased recovery plans and business and worker assistance. Then finally, social supports. This will be led by the Department of Social and Health Services Secretary Cheryl Strange. The group will focus on food, safe shelter, housing, healthcare, and equity. Governor Inslee says by the end of the week or early next week, there will be good protocols in place for the opening of certain businesses with safety as a top priority. He says Washington is days away from other businesses opening up.
I think they are not only short-sighted but dangerous. They are not compliant with the science that is very clear on this, that if we today released all of our efforts, if we stopped in our tracks halfway through this effort or 2/3 through this effort, this virus is going to come back with a vengeance. And apparently those politicians, as far as I can tell, that doesn't bother them too much. But when you see the tears of the families who have lost 800 people, I think you'd reach a different conclusion.
And the governor adding he doesn't know exactly when the go button will be pushed for the next steps, but with the help of these groups, these advisory groups, Washington will be better prepared and will know the best way to go about doing that. The governor also says we need to keep our eyes on the prize, be confident and know our state is making good progress. He adds that the goal is to get the curve down and most importantly, keep it down. Live in the newsroom tonight, Regina Ahn, back to you, Whitney.
Regina, thank you. Washington Governor Inslee also now being sued. Several Republican state lawmakers filed a lawsuit against Governor Inslee's stay-at-home order. Those lawmakers say the governor cannot insist that there is a statewide emergency when they say the emergency has passed.
There's not an emergency in Washington anymore. It's actually really great news, and it's ridiculous that the governor is continuing on the course he's on.
Attorney Joel Ard says the governor's order should be targeted toward those who are most at risk. He says there is a randomness in the order currently, and that, he says, is a constitutional problem.
When you tell people that they can go to a casino to entertain themselves and gamble, but they can't gather in a church, there's no health basis for that difference in decision, but it does infringe the First Amendment rights of those people to practice their religion.
In the meantime, a spokesperson with the Washington Joint Information Center says it's harder to reopen certain industries in heavily populated areas. The governor says the state will evaluate reopening based on the virus's activity, the risk to vulnerable populations, as well as testing capacity and the healthcare system readiness and case and contact investigations. Phase 1 of a 4-part plan, though, to reopen the state did begin today, as we said, and with that comes the return of several recreational events. KREM 2's Brandon Jones is showing us now what some of the first activities look like today.
First day back for outdoor activities. That paired with 70-degree weather had people ready to get out of their house and take advantage of the sun.
I'm supposed to be deploying here pretty soon, so I was pretty anxious to get out here before before I have to leave.
Families were out on their boats as early as 6 a.m. For the last 2 months, casting a line out into the water or even teeing off from any golf course in the state was off limits.
It was tough, to be honest with you, because we're used to, spring in Spokane. Everybody's used to getting outside.
With the reopening, county courses like the Hangman have a new list of guidelines to follow. Golfers have to call ahead to set a tee time. Play is also limited to 2 people per group unless it's a group of 4 family members. These guidelines will be in place for at least the duration of phase 1.
Honestly, the golf professionals, the staff, they've worked so hard to work through that list and have just done a fantastic job.
State parks also made their return. Places like Bowl and Pitcher are now open for hikers to explore again. Social distance is still recommended when out on the trail, but there's no longer a closure in place.
Oh, it's rough. It's really rough. I mean, being outdoors is the best thing. I mean, the weather's finally here, good, and
The next steps for outdoor activities in phase 2 will ease restrictions even more. That's going to allow fewer than 5 people outside of your household to gather for events like camping. Phase 3 will bring back recreational sports with 5 to 50 people, and Phase 4 returns all recreational activities. From Spokane, Brandon Jones, KREM 2 News.
So as Washington moves through those reopening phases, more businesses will also be able to do curbside pickup. It is just the first step, though, in recovering from months of declined business. KREM 2's Shayna Waldtower spoke with one owner on the demand they are now seeing.
It has definitely made us have to go down that avenue and think of more creative ways to get people to still shop our store.
Summer Hightower's store, Vita Lux Boutique, has been closed since March when Governor Inslee issued the stay-home order. The sharp decline in business left the store owner thinking of how to keep money coming in.
I was like, okay, we have to do something.
So they started curbside pickup, but on a limited scale. People would purchase items on their website and could only pick them up after making an appointment.
We're kind of trying to figure out different ways where we could maybe just like on Saturdays come in for a few hours and have outdoor pickup for people.
She says it's not the best setup, but hopefully enough to keep funds coming in.
We have everything from energy clearing packs.
She's hoping the upcoming holiday will spark some more business. They're making Mother's Day packages with items like handmade jewelry and flower bouquets inside. With the interest they've gotten in the packages, Hightower says now having curbside delivery will make distributing them easier.
I think people didn't mind thinking they were going to have to wait a couple of weeks to come and shop the store and pick up their packages, but now I feel like we do want people to have their things.
She says this seems like a good solution for now, but she's already working on the next idea to keep the store open. In Spokane, Shayna Waldtower, KREM 2 News.
Well, Eastern Washington University announced today it will offer most classes online for the fall 2020 term because of coronavirus concerns. Now, some classes like labs will still be held in person. The university's plan also allows for the flexibility of online courses to be switched to face-to-face if public health restrictions ease. Students will also still be allowed to live on campus if they choose, but there will be only one person per room. And there is a new study from the University of Washington that again is predicting a huge increase in the number of deaths from the coronavirus. In fact, this is now the second increase, and Mark, it's a big one.
It certainly is, Whitney. Less than a week ago, researchers at UW released that study finding that 72,000 Americans they predicted would die from COVID-19 by August 14th. Well, now there is a new study showing that number could nearly double to 134,000 if social distancing measures are eased. This as at least 43 states have now partially reopened their economies.
From a public health point of view, namely, there will be more deaths. This rise of mobility in the last week or 10 days is likely leading to some increased transmission.
In New York City, where more than 200 people are dying daily, the state is shutting down the subways for the first time ever tonight and every night after that so trains can be disinfected. All right, let's pause now and talk about the weather because it was a beautiful day here in the inland Northwest, sunshine and blue skies. However, some wind and rain moving in for tomorrow, but then a good source here at KREM 2 tells me Mother's Day weekend is shaping up pretty nice. That source, Tom Sherry. Tom?
Hey, my friend Mark Hanrahan, good to see you. I see you were busy
on your vacation last week. That growth is coming in very, very nicely there. Has that gotten a thumbs up from Mom? We'll see.
No, not at all.
No. Oh, good. One more thing we can use to get on each other's nerves, right? All right, my friend. We do have a beautiful weekend ahead for you, but let's talk about tomorrow. Big changes on the way for Wednesday. And when you take a look at the satellite picture, you can see this frontal system that is offshore. That's going to move onshore. There you can see it right there. This is going to bring windy conditions, wind gusts, maybe up to 40 miles an hour. We'll look for some heavy rain at times and much cooler weather than what we've got going on right now. So look for an overnight low of 47 with increasing clouds, but my gosh, what a beautiful evening it is. 60 the expected high tomorrow, again with a really heavy morning rain and then a few afternoon showers. For the weekend, though, 73 expected on Saturday and Sunday, 76 degrees, but it will get a bit breezy on Sunday as well. Look at the kids out here. Can we show pictures over here? Is that okay? Okay, here, can we pan over here? People out doing their pre-dinner walk. I don't know if you can see that. And she's got her special, is that like a unicorn hat or helmet? I love that, Mom. All right, you got a big weekend coming up, you know. Sunday's your day, as it should be, right? All right, we'll have more on your 7-day forecast coming up in a few minutes. Back to you.
Sounds good, Tom. Thank you very much. By the way, just keep reminding me at least that Mother's Day is coming up this weekend. Don't want to miss that one for sure.